ES E-mini futures 2000 tick chart, and we're using price action rules and market geometry to determine where to enter for high probability setups. So we're starting off this morning with a pretty nice uptrend. You can see we had a break outside of this channel, and price action rules tell us that we need to create a new extreme, which is a higher high than the highest high in the channel while it was still in play. You can see we had multiple rejections off of the bottom of this trend line. This is the highest high inside the channel. Once you see it break outside of the channel, which is a bar closing outside, then you look for an opportunity to catch a trade to push to new extreme. You can see we created new high here. But after we created new high, we rejected off of the EMA and continued to work higher again. When you see that, you want to look for a secondary channel, something like a spike and a channel. You can see multiple rejections off of the bottom of this. And now this one doesn't have new high. So I was looking for some kind of first entry short, pullback, second entry short failure above EMA to enter above. When it has like a nice bull bar on that setup, you want to enter after it triggers above that bar, and then you can either enter one tick above or put a limit order inside the bar, and then you always put your stop loss one tick below that bar. But you can see nothing formed. We just pushed below EMA. We had a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short, and then a lower high confirming that. This can be kind of a double trap, but you can see this bull bar did not close above EMA. This trade may end up working, but we just can't break our rules, especially in a time like this with all the Charlie Kirk stuff and everything going on. The ES is very, very efficient. So when there's indecision in America, it reflects that on the charts. It'll really mess with this strategy specifically, because there's a lot of people in the market that aren't here every day, with a lot of volume that can cause the market to do things that you would not expect. So in times like this, it's better to just be very, very patient, take the highest probability setups that you can find, make sure that bias and context aligns, make sure your signal bar is good, make sure that EMA is doing exactly as you would expect it to confirm that setup. But as of right now, maybe some kind of higher low above EMA I could consider. It has to have like a really, really strong rejection bar off of the EMA above it. So let's see what the market wants to do here. Alright guys, I went ahead and deleted the secondary channel. You can see we attempted multiple times to create new high, but we didn't make the push up. I had it drawn here. You can see we failed to stay above EMA long enough to push up and create new extreme. So after you see that, and then we push back below EMA, you can see we gapped pretty far away from EMA to the downside. So I just went ahead and deleted that. I'm playing that we already have new extreme for this initial uptrend. And we're just kind of consolidating to the side now. The market structure is super confusing. There might be some kind of wider trading range like that. I don't really like it though. You can see there's a lot of empty room here at the bottom, but there is multiple rejections off of this support, multiple off the resistance. So we might be in some kind of wider trading range here. Definitely just sitting on my hands. This whole area right here has been like area of development. So I haven't even really been looking for trades except for when I thought that channel needed a new extreme. There was a few decent setups here. I think this one would have worked. It would have worked if you got a limit order. We scalp 8 ticks, but the ATR is so low today. Well, it's actually not too bad. It's 2.2. So you can go for your full 8 tick take profit, the initial scalp at least. But because the market's moving so slow, if I was to take a trade, I would probably be scalping like 6 ticks or something like that, and then leaving the other contracts in for my secondary target and then my runner, of course. But so far, very, very confusing price action. Just as I predicted at the beginning of this morning, it was just kind of expecting it, especially on a Monday. You never want to argue with the market on a Monday. You got to just sit on your hands, be patient, let the market show you what it wants to do. Every week is kind of different. So especially Monday, Tuesday, I've noticed are normally pretty choppy. And then Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, we'll get some pretty strong reversals and stuff like that you can normally make some pretty decent money on. So always start off your week just being patient. You don't want to try to jump into something just to start the week off strong or whatever, because you can just as easily start the week, in negative. So not really any clear structure that I'm looking for right now. Not even looking for a trade. Kind of just waiting for the market to establish some kind of bias, some kind of direction. That way I can know what direction to look for a trade. There's cases to make, take shorts here because the market has consistent lower lows and lower highs, like there's some kind of wider downtrend or something like that. But then there's also the push above EMA here, in this uptrend now that needs new extreme. So you can make a case to go both directions. And when you know that and you can recognize that, then you shouldn't be looking for a trade, because we want to look for opportunities to go long when all bear pressure is played out, meaning downtrend, break, push to new extreme, all bear pressure played out. Now we're looking for a reversal, or uptrend, break, push to new extreme. Now we're looking for short. You want to make sure that all the structure for the direction that you're going to go in isn't countered by the other direction, still having something in play that it needs to finish before it can go, in your direction. It's kind of confusing terminology, but I think you can kind of understand what I'm trying to say. You want to go long when all bear pressure is played out. You want to go short when all bull pressure is played out. You don't want any conflicting bias against the trade that you're going to take. And that's where high probability setups take place. And then we use the obvious setup, the second entry longs, the failed second entry long, second entry short, failed second entry short, or lower high, higher low, confirming those setups. And then we use our signal bar as the last determining factor on whether or not we enter that trade. But always, 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 bias has to align. That's why the best trades are ones that you can predict are going to happen before they do, right? Like if there was a second entry short at the EMA here, new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short off of the EMA, strong rejection, nice bear bar, confirming that setup. You know that this little short downtrend needs new low, then you can consider something like that. That's when all the bias aligns. That's when all the context is in your favor. And then you can even draw a little short-term uptrend like this, right? And that's what I was talking about when all bull pressure is played out. You want to see a break out of this, create new extreme for this short-term little, spike up. All bull pressure played out, nice signal bar, second entry short, you enter there to create new low. So that's what we're looking for. And when the market's doing this, it's just really not giving us an opportunity because we don't even know what the bias is, right? So just don't look for trades, sit on your hands, be patient. We'll see what the market wants to do now. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Not a lot of price action today. You can see we had the spike up, break, push to new extreme, and then we can just consolidate it sideways for the rest of the day. You can see we had a potential uptrend here. It just has two confirmations on the bottom, but you can see how long we stayed above EMA here. So definitely not a lot of price action. Pretty much no opportunities that I can see. Maybe this one. It's kind of like a first entry long, second entry long, higher low, confirming. Not much because we already created a new high. It's just the setup, the bias doesn't align with it. So, I mean, the setup looks nice, but there's no context to go long there. Pretty much just sideways consolidation. But it's Monday. You don't want to argue with the markets on Monday. You want to take your time. Start your week off strong. Start it off either break even or take those super high probability setups that have a high chance of starting the week off. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. There wasn't too much today. It's probably going to be a pretty short video. Feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be uploading every weekday my live charting sessions. Comment, like I said, if you have any questions. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck with your trading.